Now, Fallout 4 has a pretty epic story. You're frozen through time, your child gets stolen, and then you have to shoot a bunch of people in order to get him back. Once you reach him, you find out everything was a lie, and life's a simulation. It's now your job to blow your child off the face of the earth, bada bing, bada boom, you're done. Now that's cool and all, but you know what's even better? You throw all that first person shooter action out the window, you buy a robot butler, and you make him do all the work for you. Can you beat Fallout 4 with only robots? Something I'd quickly like to note before I start this run is that I'm going to be doing things a little different this time. I'm going to be mixing a little bit of live commentary into this video, so if there are a couple sections that seem a little odd, that's why. I'll go more into detail on this later, but for now, let's start the run. Looking over my notes, I just realized I did not write any of the points that I have actual live commentary on, so yeah, you know what, that's brilliant, that's real nice. That's fine, I have the memory of an elephant with dementia, so it'll get done eventually. Loading into the vault, I made Mr. House because it's the only thing that makes logical sense. You see, you start the game in a house, there's a robot in that house, therefore he's Mr. House. See, makes perfect sense. After I was done messing around in the character creator, I went to my specials, and I tried something a bit different, by which I mean I put 10 points in intelligence, and then put 5 points in luck as well, just so I could get idiot savant. I know it won't proc all that often, but when it does, it should be a pretty good payout. The rest of my points went to endurance, because I decided to try this run in survival. Yes, I thought it would be a good idea to try survival mode on the run I can't actually fight back in. Lovely. My stupidity aside, I exited the vault and entered Sanctuary, and began scrapping everything so I could turn it into shelves. You see, I need to reach level 15 so I could actually unlock the robot workbench, so that I could mod Codsworth. Technically, I could use him in his base form, but I didn't really want to. Well, long story short, I didn't have enough stuff in Sanctuary and Red Rocket to reach level 15, and only got to around level 9. Unfortunate, sure, but it gets worse. I decided the best way to get levels would be to conquer settlements, scrap everything inside those settlements, and then make more shelves. This way I'd get the XP payout for, say, the quest, and then the XP payout from the actual building. On paper, this was a really good idea. In survival, though, it was a different story. I decided to start with the Abernathys as the closest, and they were the only settlement I actually did. When I finally reached them, because I kept dying while I was on my way over there, I started their quest and then immediately died again, because I ran into some raiders. After that frustrating turn of events, I went to Satellite Station Olivia, and well, it was a bit of a mess. I had some problems. I meant to do that. That was on purpose. Okay, so that didn't go exactly to plan. Never mind, I had a lot of problems. But eventually I was able to drag Codsworth along with me, and he was eventually able to take out the raiders there. I then picked up the locket, took it back to the Abernathys, and it was not even close to being worth it. Even after the quest payout, and after I scrapped everything and turned it into shelves, it still wasn't enough XP to level me up once. This was frustrating and most definitely a problem, but I decided I'd just skip modding Codsworth for now, and make my way to Diamond City. The trip to Diamond City was relatively routine. The only thing I did any different was that I did stop at Cambridge Police Station, just so I could pretend to be a plant while Paladin Dance fought off the zombies. You see, I'm still trying to get every crumb of XP I could possibly get. The only other entertaining thing that happened on my way to Diamond City was that I ran into a random traveling merchant, and a little while ago I ran into the same merchant, and people in the comments were telling me he's apparently really rare. Well, cry your eyes out, people, because I just ran into Smiling Larry again. I'm not sure how rare he is, but apparently he is pretty rare. I didn't actually trade anything with him because let's keep in mind I'm in survival difficulty, so I have absolutely nothing on my person. After that little incident, I eventually made my way to Diamond City, and there was virtually nothing for me there. Yes, I could get a bit of XP, but it still wasn't enough, so the next logical step was to go to Vault 114. Right? Yeah, that was a mistake. Vault 114 was so much trouble, and to be perfectly honest, I was never able to complete it at this point. To start, Codsworth would struggle when fighting even the most basic triggermen, which meant that he kept dying at the entrance. I eventually figured out I could craft robot repair kits, so I started using those to keep him in the fight, but that wouldn't really work either, as even though I have 8 in endurance, I still get 2 shot by the triggermen with 10mm pistols. Okay, big deal, why don't I just hide behind Codsworth while he does the brunt of the damage? Well, that doesn't really work either because he has a combo of melee and ranged attacks. He kind of glitches out in that, I mean, he keeps running away from the triggermen and then running back to them, so he kind of just keeps getting shot over and over again. Frustrating? Sure, but it gets worse. Eventually, Codsworth was able to take out the Triggerman in the front of the lobby. I completely butchered that, but it's okay, I'm just gonna keep going. And guess what? He can't fit through the turnstile. I have no idea why he can't fit. From what I could tell, his middle frame fits through, yet he still won't try and walk through. I have to manually push him through the turnstile, and when you die over and over again, just picture how annoying that gets. On top of that, every once in a while, he would just teleport back to the turnstile. I kid you not, he did this a couple times while I was in the middle of a fight. This drove me so insane that I eventually even gave up on the challenge and just tried cheating. Plain cheating. I picked up a random 10mm pistol, started shooting the triggerman. Nothing. My build wasn't at all optimized for combat, so I can't really do any real damage to the triggerman, but they can do serious damage to me. This meant that even if I cheated, I was getting nowhere, so I decided I'd back out, learn how to dupe items so that I could actually get to level 15, so I can mod Codsworth. Alright, in case you're wondering, I just used the classic Fallout 4 duping bug, and the way that this works is that you scrap and store an item at the same time, and that causes it to be duplicated inside the workshop's inventory. This meant that I did have to run all the way back to Red Rocket, but you know, that's the least of my problems. It took me a while to figure out how to actually do the glitch, and something I noticed nobody really talks about is that you're supposed to hold scrap and then press store at the same time. You see, most people just say click scrap and store at the same time. No, you have to actually hold scrap, release it, and then while you're releasing it, you have to press store and select. You then have to let go of the buttons in the proper order, and bam, your thing's duped. Basically, what this meant is that I could get loads and loads of steel, I could then place that steel, turn it into XP, and I was done. Eventually, I hit level 15, which started the Automatron DLC. First, I had to actually get to the Rune Caravan that starts the DLC, and that took me a little while, but thankfully Codsworth was able to handle everything on the way there, and after a bit of struggling, I got there. To my surprise, Ada was actually able to fight off most of the robots on her own, so throwing Codsworth in the mix was pretty much overkill. I then got the plans for the robot workbench, and although I can technically take Ada, and I think she is actually a better companion, she gets on my nerves, so I'm going to be using Codsworth from here on out. Now, getting mods for Codsworth was worth it, mainly because I could take away his melee weapons and make him purely ranged. What this meant is that his AI doesn't go crazy when he's in tight corridors, and instead he just shoots everybody on sight. I decided to give him cryojets, and that was possibly one of the best weapons I could have given him. Want any proof? On my way over to wherever I was going, Codsworth managed to destroy a legendary rad scorpion in a couple seconds. I was so shocked by this. I don't know what I did, I was just shocked by it. This is Fallout 4, what am I gonna do? Be shocked? Now that Codsworth was all modded out, by the way, he's now to be referred to as Oddsworth, because let's face it, he's no longer Codsworth. Anyways, I'm falling off track. I went back to Vault 114 so I could deal with the Triggerman. Well, to start, when I got there, things went badly in one of the weirdest ways possible. Oddsworth decided to cease to exist. I'm not kidding, he straight up faded out of existence. I have no idea what caused this. All I know is I had to run all the way back to Sanctuary, pick up Codsworth again, and then run all the way back to Vault 114. Yup, there goes 30 minutes of my life. It's okay though, because once I got to Vault 114, Oddsworth destroyed everything in his path. Plus he could fit through the turnstiles. That was kind of nice. I'm not kidding though, Oddsworth was a force of destruction and he melted through every single Triggerman, and then some. Even Dino, who's pretty tough on survival difficulty, just got shredded by him. Now, it was pretty fun going through the Triggerman so quickly, especially Skinny, considering he was pretty tough, and Codsworth just melted him on the spot. But I wasn't taking any more chances, so as soon as I got to Diamond City, I slept, did all my business with Nick, and decided it was time to finish Automatron. Alright, so I just gave Dogmeat this cigar. My plan now is to actually complete the Automatron DLC, or maybe not complete it, at least get a decent way. I kind of want to get to the point where you have to go to Fort Hagen for that DLC, as I figured that would be best for, you know, saving on fast traveling and whatnot. Where's Codsworth? Oh my... I can't find Codsworth. Oh my god. If I have to run all the way back to Red Rocket again, because that stupid floating tennis ball got lost. Now, if you didn't already know, one of the key differences between survival difficulty and any other difficulty is that you can't fast travel. The reason I'm mentioning this now and not later is because I walked all the way to Watts Consumers Electronics. Sorry, I got that wrong. The other one, the one you have to go for Automatron. And Codsworth decided to nope out of existence again. Yeah, that was really fun. To say I was unhappy about this, well, that would be an understatement. Now, you'd think because Codsworth made me walk all the way up here, I'd go to Fort Hagen. But then you would be wrong. You see, I'm still going to do General Atomics, but that's simply because it's about the principal now. I'm dragging his butt all the way over there. No one can stop me. Yeah, if you couldn't already tell, the PS4 fumes were starting to get to me. Anyways, after reloading and dragging Codsworth all the way over to the General Atomics factory, I want to say. I'm not sure, I might be wrong there. But you know, the one. I got annihilated, and I had to do it again, and another time after that. I eventually realized that 4-leaf fish packing is right there, so I unlocked the secret chem lab, killed all the workers, and then fell asleep. In the game, not in real life. I didn't fall asleep in the game. I've yet to get that tired during a run yet. This meant that I actually had to save right by the factory, so I went in, got killed a couple more times, and I finally lost it. Survival difficulty, that is. Here's me live with the explanation. Go on survival. This is actually driving me crazy, and so I'm going to down the difficulty back down to normal. I will do my next run in survival difficulty. I just can't do this. It's not going to work. I think I probably... If I actually wanted to do survival, I may be able to do it if I used a weapon, but that's not the point of this run. The point of the run is to beat it with robots only, so I'm just going to down the difficulty. I do promise you guys, though, I will do my next run in survival because it was genuinely really fun. It's just this isn't the kind of run that works with it. Yeah, Live Me did a pretty good job at explaining that. Something I'd like to quickly add, though, is I've already filmed a bit of the next run, and I'll tell you, survival did not last long at all. I can definitely see why some people like it and they'd like to see it in runs. It's really fun. It's a nice change of pace, but also I don't have that much time to film each run. I only have about 3 days. Now, although that sounds like a lot, I do have a personal life. I do have things to do. So sadly, I just can't spend all my time playing Fallout 4. If I could, I definitely would do survival, but I just didn't have the time at that point. So I had to quit survival so I can actually, finish the run. Anyways, survival versus normal is like night and day. Survival being the night, obviously. So I was able to breeze my way through all of the Mechanist goons, and then it's time for headhunting. If you don't know the next mission, you basically have to find some robo-brains, kill them, and then take their robo-brain. Well, anyways, the first one was crazy difficult. I have no idea why, it just was. Eventually, I found a bit of a loophole. You see, I took Robotics Expert a while ago because I actually needed to mod Codsworth, and I found out if I used Jet, I could get close enough, deactivate them, and then detonate them, which meant I could do a huge amount of damage with a robot, technically, and so I counted it for the run. This also meant that I could insta-kill the stupid strong sentry bot. Sorry, sentry not. That thing was not a sentry bot, I'm sorry. Either way, I'm getting off track again. I killed all the robots, took the robo-brain, went to Fort Hagen's satellite array, and Codsworth couldn't fit because I gave him some thick legs. That was a lot in one sentence. Let's slow that down. I got the sentry bot legs, I put that on Codsworth, I then took Codsworth to Fort Hagen satellite so that I could do the quest that's there, and Codsworth couldn't fit. Yes, it's possibly the worst thing to happen to me in this run, but he couldn't fit, I could not make him fit, he was stuck. I could not do that quest with Codsworth, but not all hope was lost. As I mentioned, I could use Robotics Expert to detonate robots, so I used all the robots as like little mines to take out the Rust Devils? Is this game the one with Rust Devils or is it Rust Eagles? No, Rust Eagles is Fallout 76. Okay, it's Rust Devils. I detonated the robots outside the Rust Devils. That killed them. And then I had to deal with Ahab. Luckily, Codsworth teleported to me once I reached Ahab, so when I fought him it wasn't too bad. He still destroyed me on my first try, but it got better after time went on. Ivy was a bit more trouble, mainly because I can't actually fight back against her, so I ran in, detonated her Assaultron, and then picked up the Assaultron head. I thought about using it for a bit, but I decided against it mainly because I only thought about it when I was doing survival. Since I'm not doing survival anymore, I think it's okay that I don't use the Assaultron head, that is. Now, before I actually went and finished the Automatron DLC, I decided since I was in the area, I'd go and clear out Fort Hagen. Now, normally after a sentence like that, I would say easier said than done, but no, it was easier done than said. Codsworth blitzed his way straight through all the synths, made it to Kellogg, and just watched the fight. Yeah, Kellogg never stood a chance. With Kellogg's brain bits in hand, I actually went to go and defeat the Mechanist, and it was a bit of trouble. The robots that live in the Mechanist lair are actually pretty tough, especially I think they're called dual bots, but they're the ones with double swords. Anyways, they destroy your health in like one hit. Keep in mind I'm wearing some pretty decent armor that specializes in ballistic protection, and they're still killing me in one hit. I still find that absurd, but luckily Codsworth can take them out pretty quickly. I don't have too much to say about the Mechanist lair. Exactly a little while there. Oh shoot, that's why. Okay, let's see if I can shut this down. Nope. So much better. Did I die? Okay, I had quite a bit to say about the Mechanist lair, but the thing is I did most of that live, so I don't really have to worry about it. As for the fight with the actual Mechanist, it was pretty tough. I mean, the Mechanist sends a lot at you. Personally, I find it harder than any boss fight in the base game of Fallout 4. But luckily, after a bit of trial and error, me and Codsworth did make it to the end, where we had the final fight with the Mechanist. My god, that took forever. Yeah, come down. Wonder how quickly I can end this. Alright, let's see how quickly I can end this. There we go. I'm pretty sure I did live commentary on that. I'm not positive, so if I didn't, I'm just going to leave a little bit of commentary here just in case. Basically, as soon as the fight started, I deactivated Sparks, set him on fire, he blew up, and then Codsworth dealt with the Mechanist. It didn't last all that long. The main issue was Codsworth is pretty inaccurate. That is because he's wearing an Assaultron head, by the way. But eventually, the fight was over, and we won. Okay, as I mentioned, Automatron is way harder than the base game. That may not be an opinion shared by many, but personally, I find that true. Now, because of this, I kind of just wanted to have fun at this point, so I may have cheated a little. Just kidding, I cheated a lot. First off, I stopped at Sawjust's Ironworks and let Codsworth have his way with all the raiders. Once he was done massacring them all, I picked up the notebook that was on the floor, read it, and now I know how to make copper statues. The reason I did this was because I headed back to Red Rocket, duped enough copper to make the Statue of Liberty jealous, and then started placing statues at Starlight Drive-In. This leveled me up all the way to level 30, which meant I could get 3 ranks in Science and 2 ranks in Robotics Expert, as well as a number of other useful perks. Basically, what this means for me is that I can now mod Codsworth to hell and back. To start, I got rid of everything, replaced him with practically a sentry bot, and then put a Robo Brain on his head. Basically, what this means is that he's now a sentry bot with a Mesmatron attack and really, really good accuracy. Like, I'm not kidding, he would just aimbot everything. Anyways, after a few more mods, I souped him up. He got 2 Gatling lasers, some grenade launchers, and Tesla armor. What this means for you guys is that I am now going to breeze through the rest of the game, because let's face it, the bulk of this run was going to be Automatron anyways. So first things first, I made my way to Good Neighbor so Codsworth could destroy Finn, and also so I could go in the memory den, do that quest, and finish all that up. I then went to the glowing sea because of course that's next, and it was pretty easy. The main issue is Codsworth did get stuck a couple places, and the real problem honestly is although the sentry bot is cool, it can't really move around that much, and I think it'd generally be only used if you want to put one, say, in a settlement, like defending the castle. That'd be pretty cool, but having one follow you around isn't actually that good, so it took me a little while just to get Codsworth through the glowing sea, but eventually I got it done. I then talked to Virgil, he told me to go to Green Tech, and it was once again a bit of a disappointment. Now normally I love Green Tech, and I think it would have been really fun if Codsworth actually managed to follow me inside, but like with the Rust Devil's Den, Codsworth got stuck. I could not unstick him, which meant I had to run through the entire place. He couldn't fit through any of the tight corridors, so he couldn't even teleport to me, so I wound up just running straight through Green Tech and going into the elevator all the way up to the Courser. I then had the Courser fight, which was, well, it was interesting. You wanna dance, huh? You wanna dance? You wanna dance? Codsworth! Codsworth! Finally, that fight was taking so long. And then I went to Diamond City to do important stuff, I swear. Oh, something I forgot to mention also was I killed the railroad. I mean, I do that so often now, it's kind of a given, but yeah, I killed the railroad and got the chip decoded. They were surprisingly tough, to be fair. Well, they weren't that tough. Their architecture was pretty tough, though. Like, Codsworth kept getting stuck. I really need to get rid of those sentry bot legs. Anyways, back on target, I started helping the Brotherhood out as I decided I wanted to side with the Institute, but obviously I still need to get to the teleporter and get all the way into the Institute. Helping the Brotherhood wasn't too bad. I have Codsworth with me, let's remember. Codsworth, no! My boy! My son! No! Oh, he's gone. And in the first couple quests, you have Dance as well. I thought the Super Mutant Behemoth might be a bit of trouble, but Codsworth destroyed that as well. Yeah, there really isn't any challenge left in the challenge run. I then had a perfectly normal trip to the Institute, where I dealt with Sean, by which I mean I made friends with him and talked to all his little friends. Like I said, I'm siding with the Institute, so I did the Institute's meet and greet, made my way to Libertalia, tried to do a cool little skip, failed miserably, and then got shot by a fat man. I then teleported with Codsworth to the top of Libertalia, watched him destroy all the raiders that were up there, and made my way back to the Institute to disappoint Sean. Obviously, now it's time for the Battle of Bunker Hill, and it was a bloodbath. Something I'd quickly like to mention though before I go into the battle, is this is actually the first place Codsworth got downed. Yes, believe it or not, the railroad of all people were able to take him out, but that's mainly because they were using Gauss rifles. You see, each Gauss rifle does about 150 damage, Codsworth has about 350 health, so it only takes a couple hits to down him. The thing is, a good chunk of the railroad are hiding behind cover, so it took him a little while to take them out, so they did down him a couple times, which genuinely surprised me. Anyways, other than that trouble, I breezed my way through Bunker Hill like everywhere else. I mean, come on, Codsworth has double Gatling lasers, he's just gonna melt everything in his path. And he did melt everything in his path, even the synths. I disabled most of the synths, and I almost did a good job and returned them all to the Institute, but then one of them offered me money.
You're safe, okay? I'm gonna let you go.
Oh God, thank you.
That's all he had to do. That was it? Oh, I have to. Yes, I handled that situation exquisitely. Anyways, when I went back to Sean, I actually learned that you can get kicked out of the Institute just based on that conversation. I did not know that would happen. I thought it was just, Fallout logic. You tell them that you murdered their entire family, and they say, okay, cool, come back home. Anyways, my reaction to that was perfectly reasonable, and I'll have no one tell me otherwise. And so it was time for mass fusion. Well, first it was time for the meeting, but I just skipped that. If you don't know, if you fast travel from the Institute while the meeting's going on, you'll skip the meeting entirely, and so you could use that to, well, skip the meeting. Sean wasn't too happy about that, but he can cry about that later. I have business to attend to. Come to think of it, I'm pretty sure I said those exact words when I recorded that live. Okay, mass fusion. So mass fusion wasn't too difficult. I mean, it was pretty tough. The Brotherhood can put up a pretty good fight. Plus, Codsworth couldn't really follow me to the top. But the thing is, as soon as I was in the elevator, he just destroyed everything. I know it's sounding a bit repetitive right now, but I cannot stress this enough. He was so overpowered. Like, I understand you're not supposed to do this until you reach a really high level, but even then, it's almost to the point where it's completely ridiculous. It's not even almost there. It is completely ridiculous. Nothing can stand up to him. Literally nothing. So there's not much point in dwelling in the rest of the challenge run, as well, it's all gonna go the same. Mass fusion was a breeze, the radio part was a breeze, pinned was a breeze. Hi, darling. Welcome to Grey Garden. Oh wait, he wanted him back in one piece? The reactor was, well, Codsworth didn't have anything to do with the reactor. He can't even get in the Institute. And then it was time to deal with the Brotherhood of Steel. I was a little worried they'd be able to take him out, but they actually weren't able to. They were able to take me out, though. That was the main problem. Now, not to toot my own horn too much here, but I was actually pretty smart. I figured out a way to damage the reactors with using a robot because Codsworth wouldn't attack them. No way it actually worked. No way that actually just worked. Oh my god. The only way I could actually viably damage the generators is by using Institute grenades. They still are technically a robot as it's spawning in a synth, and that's what's damaging them. But that's literally the only thing I could do, because Codsworth won't actually follow me to the generators or attack them. That's all three, that's all three. So yeah, I was able to make my way through the Brotherhood pretty easily. I mean, it wasn't the easiest. Codsworth couldn't follow me to a lot of places, and he did get stuck a lot. But when it came down to it, the main part of that quest is the defense of the synth hacking Liberty Prime. And since Codsworth is standing with me and I was able to use the synth beacons because they are technically robots, I was pretty well defended. And so was the synth virus. After a bit of waiting around and a tad bit more of live commentary. Oh, Codsworth is here. Oh, I'm almost dead. I watched the Brotherhood's Pridwin go down, returned to the Institute, and had perfectly goodbyes with Sean, finishing the game, proving, yeah, you can beat Fallout 4 with just robots. Okay, so this run went a little strange, I'm not gonna lie. I understand that some of you might not be happy that I used glitches to reach such a high level, but honestly, in the end of the day, it was kind of more about the more fun side of Automatron. Personally, I don't like Automatron that much, it's actually my least favorite Fallout 4 DLC. And that's mainly because I find it to be a little rushed, at least on the actual quest side of it, but the actual quest and enemies don't feel that great. So really, all I wanted to do was have a load of fun with the robots. Either way, that wasn't really what I want to talk about on this little final bit. I want to talk about the live commentary. First off, I'm sorry if it's a bit poorly put together right now. That is entirely my fault. I forgot to write down anything in my notes. If you don't know, I don't use a script like most Fallout YouTubers. I actually use notes, like just small little notes that I write down and I freestyle it from there. But I didn't have anything written down on my notes of where I put commentary, so I couldn't really blend things together all that well. I hope that when I actually edit this audio down, it does work a bit better, but I'm sorry if it did come out a little clunky. The main reason I want to practice my live commentary is I want to expand the length of my videos. Recently, I've been finding them to be a little short, mainly because I don't want to repeat certain sections. Now, I don't mean that about the actual game, I mean that, like, I don't want to say the same thing every video, so I think live commentary should break that up a bit. Other than that, I do want to try live streaming at some point, and obviously, if I'm not doing any commentary during the live stream, that's not a very good live stream, so I think it's best that I start practicing my live commentary, at least for now, in the videos. Regardless, that's all I have time for in this video. If you did enjoy, please consider subscribing, otherwise I'll catch you in the next one.